What's going on, everyone? My name is Dudo, and I'm the Goalie Gear Snob. And today I'm going to be reviewing that Passau Starke set, and I have a whole bunch of thoughts on it. So stay tuned. So yes, I'm going to be reviewing a Passau set. So in my past, I have never really checked out Passau. I know in GGSU and the larger Facebook community that a lot of people swore by Passau gear. So I was pretty interested in this set here. And after a long kind of transaction with my good buddy Mike Beckham, we ended up kind of coming to the idea that I should review a Passau set. So in a trade, he helped me get this set, and I'm going to be talking about it now. So I'm going to start here with the blocker, everyone's favorite part. So I'm really stoked about how this set looks. I really like the Dallas green PadSkinz that Mark over at Chameleon Sports actually had specifically made for the Dallas Stars, and this is that colorway, and that's what it looks like here. So I've added that through here to kind of give it a pretty nice simple clean graphic over there, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out, how it looks here. But getting into actually how the blocker performs, I actually have some notes on my monitor here behind me because I have so many thoughts on how this set was performing, and I kind of went back and forth how I want to talk about it because I've never experienced some weird things with gear or that I've felt kind of experienced on this set. So it's pretty interesting, but I want to get into it here. So starting with the actual shape of the board, this is kind of a different one for me. So I'm used to using blockers that have a little bit of a stiffer face, harder rebounds, and there's a little bit of kind of like gaps and air underneath the face here, like it really presses in a whole bunch. And the physical board shape is like, I'll try to do my best to show it, but the deepest point of the blocker board is right where your hand goes. So right where the wrist is. So when I'm making saves, I actually feel like I have the least amount of board sticking off of my hand. So it's kind of tough to show, but I'll do my best. But you can see where my wrist would be aligned right here. And that's the point where it hits it. And I'm used to having a blocker that sticks off a little bit or the curve is in a slightly different spot. But I was taking a lot of pucks right here, and I just felt like I wasn't presenting as much as I wanted to. I felt like a lot of pucks were actually kind of hitting it and still rolling off into the side of the net or to the post. I just felt like I wasn't projecting as much as I wanted to. With that design, there is a very weird kind of wrist cuff that's right here. And this wrist cuff is actually supposed to fill the gap between the back of the board and your wrist. I'm honestly unsure of why that wrist cuff is put there, just because I feel like you should just make the board stick off the hand more. Like there should be more padding between the board shape and the back of the hand. I don't feel like there should be a gap right there that you need this material to kind of fill it. Also, it's super plush, super soft, doesn't really do much. Like I'm just pressing it with my fingers here lightly. Imagine a puck hitting it, kind of compressing back. So it seems a little bit like a gimmick to me. Don't really like it there. But in terms of the actual cuff here, it's going to be what's considered a a one-piece cuff, where it actually just kind of wraps around a one piece. I had to severely loosen the lace here just to be able to kind of get my hand into it comfortably. And with this wrist padding right here and this wrist cuff right here, it's heavily wearing from the edge of my chest protector, and I only wore this blocker 5 times. So it's a little bit weird there, a little bit concerning. Flipping it over to the palm, you can see that it has just like that same gray material throughout. I'm getting a lot of pilling on it, and I specifically used this set with a stick that did not have any grip on it. It didn't have any Howie's Pro Grip on there. So again, it's just wearing heavily only after 5 uses. So yeah, not totally happy with how that was performing there. In terms of the balance and the weight, it felt fine, nothing crazy. It wasn't like the lightest one I've worn. It wasn't the heaviest one I've ever worn. But yeah, so it just kind of feels a little bit weird to me. It doesn't have that pro stiffness that I'm used to from Vaughn, CCM, Bauer. It just feels a little bit odd there. The other thing I noticed too is this sidewall right here and this lacing pattern. Apparently from older models of Passau blockers, Passau decided to lace this down to add some rigidity to the sidewall. But like, yeah, that's well and good for up here just past the blocker board, but like this sidewall is super flimsy, like super soft, like there's no hard material in here. It still feels like an HD foam, but it doesn't have that kind of like plasticky feel that I would like to have when I punch rebounds out. It just feels like it's soft. You can see a lot of weird puck marks across the inside edge just because I couldn't get the right kind of like movement with it. I had a lot kind of bouncing off the inside there. But yeah, so that's the blocker in and of itself. So I'm going to take this off and talk about the glove now. Switching over to the glove here. This is Passau's Starke model. Again, I use the Dallas Green PadSkinz right here. I actually put it inside of the inset graphic, so it's not covering any stitching or anything. So it kind of seems like it would be custom or kind of look custom. And I put it into two separate halves right here, kind of across that glove break, so that when you're closing it, there's no stretching or like ripping of the material or anything like that. So I tried to be a little bit more strategic with it. But this glove, according to Passau's website, is considered a 60-degree break. But I'm going to do my best to hold it here and try to show you guys that when I close this glove, the pocket seems like it's a little bit more upright. Like that kind of looks a little bit more like a 580-ish to me. This to me looks almost like a 580, but like a little less. So not quite like a 75 or a 90 degree, maybe like an 80 degree. It's very upright on the hand. So as I go to show you how it closes with my hand in the glove, so I hold it open and then I close it. Yeah, that just seems a little bit weird for me. Like that doesn't scream 60 degree. So a little bit different there. It opens up incredibly wide, it has a very good presentation. The pocket is huge. It looks pretty good there. Not a huge fan of double T pockets. I really like the single. I like having more lace. But this is really big and wide open, so I think that looks pretty decent. But yeah, so I was catching a lot of pucks across the fingertips. Up here, I wasn't totally comfortable catching it in the pocket. It presents well. I was able to kind of reach my hand out quite a bit. But yeah, it felt really odd on the hand. Wasn't totally in love with it. Something I did want to point out with a pocket here is the lacing pattern. So as I pull my hand out and try to show you guys here, there's a lot of lacing that's kind of sticking out. And all of the areas where there is lacing, I've had pucks hit every single one of them. Well, I'm trying to kind of find the right feel for the glove and how it presents and kind of how I want to grab pucks with it. I had a lot of pucks hit off the outside of the tee, and I have puck marks on every single one of the knots on the end of the lace. So I just think that's a little bit odd there, a little bit concerning that you'd have so many laces sticking out of the pocket. But I'm going to open the glove up and show you guys the inside here now. Now that we're looking at the wrist and the inside of the glove, the wrist sticks off, like the backhand wrist sticks off a crap ton. Like, I don't even know how else to explain it except when I put my hand inside the glove, like there's a lot that sticks up. Again, I do have it loosened up a little bit here, but when I tighten up the backhand, the glove couldn't close. So I actually tried to relace a little bit on the back to try to make it a little bit better. But just to show you guys, when you close it and pull it down, it's not like that much of a difference, maybe half an inch, but I tried to loosen a little bit so the glove could close. But yeah, so that's what I was kind of experiencing there. When I flip over to show you guys the inside of the glove. So you have a strap across the fingers. It's very dark, so I'll try to let the light kind of hit it here. We have a strap across the fingers, two across the back, one across the back of the hand, one a little bit more towards the wrist. Pretty standard closure, nothing crazy. Has some air mesh on the inside, so it's pretty comfortable. But this wrist strap, just to show you, I have it loosened all the way up. So it's kind of butting up to the end right here. You're supposed to double it back onto itself. I physically couldn't put my hand in the glove when it was that tight. Again, just like the blocker, has that same gray material across the wrist that is already starting to wear out a little bit and start to get pilled A little bit kind of gross feeling as well too. So yeah, overall just a little bit odd kind of design there as well. Also, when I put my hand in here, the biggest thing I've noticed that was really odd is that there's no dedicated thumb loop or area to tighten the thumb loop. And while on all the other gloves behind me, I don't have a thumb loop pulled up that tight, I prefer to have something a little bit more. I feel like my thumb is so loose in this channel right here. It's just really odd. So not 100% in love with that. But the good thing about this glove is this Pro Palm right here. The website says it has a 3/8 of an inch Pro Palm built in here. It's very robust, very beefy. With my surgically repaired tendon, I like to have a little bit more protection. I was definitely getting it from this glove here. But now that I showed you the glove, I'd like to talk about the pads. So while I'm holding the left pad here, and I want to show off the PadSkinz I put on here. Very happy with this Dallas green colorway. Very happy with this little hit of green right here. I think it looks pretty sweet. Also really like that I was able to tuck the graphic underneath right here, so I wasn't worried about snow or any water kind of building up and making the PadSkinz lift up. Very happy with that. And I did strategically cut it around the lace so that you could kind of make it look like it's a real custom product. So by the time this video is out, there's going to be some social posts coming up kind of shouting out PadSkinz. So make sure you check those out so you can see how I applied this. But starting off with the actual pad itself, boy, I have a lot of thoughts on this pad. Some good, mostly, I don't want to say negative, but I mean, I didn't really like these. I think it was Scoops that joked and said it, that they're mid. I think that's what the kids are saying now. I don't know, I'm 34, but yeah, that's the best way I can describe is that these are just like, they're goalie pads, 5 out of 10. Nothing crazy, nothing cool. Like if you are in 2016 and you want a goalie pad, like this is it. There's other pads that have more kind of gimmicks built into them to make them slide better, seal better, have better rebounds, whatever. I don't know what the story of this pad is trying to tell other than it's a goalie pad. Can you say that's good? Can you say that's bad? Yeah, like there's some different ways to look at it, but I just couldn't really tell you what was special about it. But I want to start off with the face of the pad. Rebounds were fine. They're very predictable. I like the flat face. I actually like the core lacing shining through. I think it looks pretty good. Nothing crazy there. I liked having a full outer roll that sticks up across the pad. I kind of like that. I like the solid shape. But when I get to the profile of the pad, like it's fine, but it doesn't really have that big break below the knee that I like. It really starts to come through at the top half, which is a little bit weird. But yeah, the other wild thing about this pad is that if I hold it up is that this is a 30+2. Yes, 30+2. When I started playing goalie when I was 13 years old, that is 21 years ago, very first set of pads I bought were 32-inch iTech Profile 4.8s because I was this size when I was 13. I just had hair and no beard, but this is weird to me that I'm wearing a 30+2. And even then, the size was still a little big. I had to dig out my old bag of tricks, do the old Jonas Hiller mod where you lace the knee to the calf so that the knee doesn't try to move up anymore. You can't really do this with newer style pads, but the separate ones that have this knee wing right here, it's just something I did to try to pull the pad down so that they could actually fit me. The overall size of these were almost like, I don't know, I'd want to say they compared to maybe like a 32.5+1, like nothing crazy. Like they were definitely a little bit smaller overall than what I'm used to, which I did like. But yeah, like my knee was barely on the knee block. I was still landing really low, especially in RVH, kind of pushing back. Didn't really love it there. The 45-inch cut right here, the 45-degree cut that's on the inside of the knee block right here. I wish that it wasn't cut. I wish it was just a normal knee block that came all the way up. I feel like that would help the stability a great bit. I don't really think it helps much for mobility. I think it'd be better for stability, but hey, just my personal opinion. So now I want to get into the back half of the pad and talk about strapping. Part of the discussion I had with Mike Beckham and when we were talking about, what gear I should review next, and we kind of landed on Passau, is a lot of the reviews and the social posts that are out there from Passau or even other influencers as well is that there's so many things that change on the back of the pad from generation to generation to generation that I don't even know which exact generation of pad this is, other than when I first got the 32 plus 2-inch pad and had to get them returned and get a 30 plus 2 made. I'll talk about that whole story here in a little bit. But when I had to get those made, and really when I was looking at the pad, like the actual professor strap changed from the one generation to another generation. So I don't mind this version, but it's just crazy that like it's still called a Starke pad and it's been called a Starke pad. And every review I've seen of them, they've had different leg channel strapping. Like this has 2 different calf straps. Like I did cut and put one on here to make it fit my leg. But like it used to have 2 of these 3-inch wide ones all the way up here and it wasn't removable. Like it's just so weird to me that they've made adjustable and removable straps and then they went back to a double strap system and just didn't really like, I guess on their website, or they'll contact you and tell you, or maybe if you're ordering custom, they'll tell you what's there. But like for me, just kind of ordering these and see that change there, it was really odd to me. But getting into the strapping, you do have a lot of adjustable or kind of different adjustment points. So I'm running the knee strap kind of across the knee, slightly angled down, not totally up. It'd be weird if it angled up like that. So I don't really know many people that would want that here, especially when there's like a cut in the knee block where it comes out and where it kind of sits naturally. I feel like this is kind of a waist up here. I did originally have them strapped this down here and this professor strap running up, but again, just I don't want to have a strap running up on the calf. It just felt very counterintuitive. But when I put this here, this Velcro strap kind of doubles back on itself once it passes through the reducer. So I think that's a pretty cool design. But the only issue is that when this hard Velcro is coming back, it kind of wears on the binding. It's more noticeable on the right pad that I have over there, but I'm already getting wear just after 5 skates on this binding of the professor strap. Professor strap is fully removable. It can come off on the inside here and you can entirely take it off, but I would recommend keeping it on there to try to give a little bit more security, especially if you're ordering a size that you might not be familiar with. You want to try to keep your knee on the block as best as possible. Just like I was talking about, you have these double calf straps right here, one below and one kind of like at or above the calf. I actually had to cut off the one that was right here, and I had to add in this little A&R strap just to try to close it off a little bit because the stock length was so short and is so tight with being double elastic that it just did not fit that well across my leg. Looking at the inner calf wrap, you can actually adjust it and get your hand in here and try to like remove this pillow. Why you would want to remove it, I have no idea. So it just kind of seems weird here, weird that there's Velcro right here. Maybe it's a production thing to kind of make it easier to close off, but yeah, just a little bit odd there. And then looking at the bottom half of the pad, I took the elastic toes that came stock on the pad and just took them right off. They seemed really thin, like super stretchy. Also don't want to be caught dead wearing those bungee toe ties, so I just pulled them right off. The boot strap, it's on like a little pocket where you can remove it, but it's not easily removable. So I actually had to cut a piece in there to grab it with pliers and pull it out instead of ripping it from the side. And then I left the buckle on here just because I needed something to carry the pads. So I hook a duffel bag strap to the bottom boot to kind of carry it there. I was a little bit concerned with how stiff these outer calf flaps are. Also, there's no cuts in them that kind of come off of the boot scoop as well. So this is literally what was on like an original Vaughn Velocity 1. And then the V2 and V3, they started making cuts here. Even on the Reebok Premier 4s, when they kind of tighten up the leg channel, they put strategic cuts right here, try to make the bottom section move a little bit better. So this just seems super old school. It was really stiff on the leg, and I'm already getting some wear on this inside edge right here. Also, the gray material that you're going to see here is the same that's on the palm of the blocker, the back of the wrist of the glove as well. And yeah, it's not wearing bad here, but yeah, I just didn't really like it. It was really gripping the bottom of the foot here. I wish this was just the Gen Pro that came up. Last thing I want to point out as well is that there's no screws on the front half, but you see some screws in the back half. If I undo these, I'm afraid that they might slide or move around, and I really don't want to take them off to experiment with that and see where they're going to go, but I'm assuming that there are backing screws that are permanently affixed there, but yep, not really sure about that. But hey, you get a Made in Canada tag. When I was wearing the leg pads, I did want to call out that I was using this Passau large, extra large knee pad with it. And I wore this knee pad with it twice, and then I switched back over to my regular Warrior RX3 Pro knee pads, not the Pro Plus, the Pros. And I did not like this knee pad. The biggest thing is that, yes, there's this external protection here, but it's so square, like it's almost flat. And even when you put the one strap on it to pull it tight, it makes it tight on the thigh, but not on the knee. So when I dropped down in the butterfly, it almost seemed like I had a square covering my leg, and it made my leg feel very large, but it just didn't curl into the shape of my leg. Like, that's the shape of my thigh, not that. So it's really odd with how that was working. Also, I didn't like this 4-strap system. You take the outer one off, and then you have 3 more across the inside. It was fine. I didn't love it. Nothing too wild, but this material right here started wearing out a little bit. Yeah, just, it's a knee pad. So nothing crazy. I wasn't blown away by this. I would absolutely still use my Warriors 1,000 times over this knee pad here. But I did just want to call that out and put in a little mini review about these knee pads. So yeah, maybe you guys have had some better experience with it, but I just wasn't blown away by these at all. The shape was odd, not a lot of cushion, maybe because they were used, but yeah, I just was not blown away by this knee pad. So sorry about the bad knee pad review, but now I want to share some of my final thoughts. So let's check it out. So after using this set for 5 times here, the best way I can describe it is just that they are middle of the road. I don't love them, I don't hate them, but they're definitely like, I don't want to say I dread wearing them, but like, I just know that I don't get the right performance out of them. I've had a lot of friends comment on them and say that they look good, they look flashy, that they look pretty cool, that they look interesting, but it's just, they're not for me. It just seems like they are built so much older. Like I was talking about earlier, about kind of like the different generations, how there's different strapping, but they're all the same name. I don't know if Passau should start with a clean slate and introduce something new. But you know, kind of like my old e-commerce merchandising manager thought process and brain, like I don't know how they're really selling something new when they have few social posts that come out about it and very few reviews about it. I've heard that they've had great customer service, and maybe the customer service is reaching out and telling the customer what's going on. But for me, I didn't have any interaction with them other than returning it, creating the label, getting that 32-inch set sent back, and getting the 30+2 made. But when it comes to that, specifically off of their website, they list a 30+2 is someone between 5'4" and 5'7". I am 5'10", and then it says for a 32+2 should be between 5'8" and 5'10". They do provide a foot to knee measurement, where it says you go from the floor to your knee pivot point, which is 1 inch above the lowest point of your patella. So it is very specific that they show that there, but even based off of that measurement of 19.5 to 20.5, I'm just about a 20, and I do not fit in that 32+2. It was about 1 inch higher in the knee than my 33-inch bronze Axis 2s right there. There's no way I could even wear those. So just crazy to me that that was a 32, and they were almost larger than like a Bauer medium, almost like a Bauer large. They seemed like they're like a 34 compared to other brands. So yeah, it was just tough to kind of see that and then have to wait to get a new pad, and then plus have a different professor strap on there, which was just kind of crazy to me that no one told me it was going to be updated there. But yeah, so that kind of summarizes the production and my thoughts on the actual gear. I tried to sprinkle in a little bit more about what I thought about the set on the ice and everything like that. But when it comes down to it, would I use this set again? I really don't want to. If I had like a gun to my head and someone made me choose, like, yeah, of course I'd wear them. I get some decent slides out of them, a decent seal, but it's just decent. I have better seal, better slides, better performance, better seal from other pads. I'd even say that the Bauer GSX set that I was wearing was better than these. I like the performance. I was getting more out of those. So yes, they are made in North America, made in Canada. So a lot of people like that, but for me, that's kind of a moot point. I don't really care about where it's produced or who's making it to a degree. Like, yeah, I like talking to the reps and, you know, getting some behind the scenes photos and talking to them and joking with them. But I mean, when it comes to CCM, Warrior, their overseas production, like, I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. I have no reason for, you know, to kind of crap on it and say, yeah, I need made in Canada. So kind of like a weird thing there, but yeah, so that kind of summarizes my time in Passau gear. I did just want to give a huge shout out to Mike Beckham, a good friend of mine. We skate together way too much throughout the week and joke way too much throughout the week as well, but great friend here that we kind of got in a trade situation with a set of gear, and then he kind of helped me pick this up here. So pretty excited to be able to review and bring my thoughts to you guys here on that. I also just want to give a huge shout out to Mark over at PadSkinz, who I've known for probably over a decade now. I really like how that Dallas green came out, and it looked pretty solid out on the ice. I have a lot more of the Dallas green left, so I've actually been kind of sprinkling it on some of the other gear here as well to try to add a little bit of color, and I've really loved how that PadSkinz material works, so I'll definitely link his stuff down below. But I'd like to hear from you guys what your thoughts are on Passau gear. Am I crazy for this? Have you guys had similar experiences? What are your thoughts on a made in Canada versus overseas? I mean, I've kind of already talked about it a little bit, but I'd like to hear from you guys. So please comment down below and let me know what you think about this Passau Starke set. But my name is Chris Dudo, and I'm the Goalie Gear Snob, and thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this video. I'd really appreciate it if you liked, commented, and subscribed, and also rang that cute little Liberty bell for some notifications about what I upload to my channel. Please check me out on some of my other social outlets. Are going to be linked down below.